Well, hey, Pat, nice to meet you and talk to you here
absolutely,
again.
Kurt.
So, first of all, thanks for being a customer.
Absolutely.
We really appreciate it. You guys have been with us, I think, since 1999.
Yes.
And, the thing I'm interested in, because we're in a similar position.
Mhm.
We both grew up in a family business. The only people I've ever been in business with is family.
Right.
How about you?
Yeah. Well, I cut grass early on, so I was my own boss back then.
Yeah.
But no, yeah, I've essentially worked for the company since I could push a broom. The first paycheck actually came in, I don't know, 82, but it was, compensation before that, under the table, maybe. I don't know.
We're very similar in my dad and I started the company in 1983. Now, I say that, but I was 22 years old. I didn't know anything.
Yeah.
And so my gratitude goes to the past generations.
Absolutely.
And what do you think about
We stand
that?
on those shoulders, no doubt, every day. To start a construction company today with the infrastructure that's been built over decades,
Yeah,
I would think it would be almost impossible.
I agree. How do people do it, do you think, today?
Well, the success rate is very low.
Yeah.
And you look at the large construction companies in the Midwest, a lot of them were started by immigrants.
Yeah.
They came here, they worked hard, and built the infrastructure, and that's essentially, you see that in the subcontracting community in St. Louis. A lot of German and Irish immigrants in the mechanical trades and electrical trades, and
Sure.
yeah, it takes generations.
So your dad started this company, is that correct?
My father and grandfather back
yeah.
in 1965. My father was a civil engineer, once an engineer, always an engineer.
Uh-huh.
Grandfather was a carpenter superintendent, and their business partner, Rich Wagner, was a cement finisher. So sort of had the contractor in a box.
So how'd they do it?
They started off with, I think it was a $5,000 investment, and they just kept their head down and plowed through it. We were just looking at the early financial statements, and it was tight, it was very tight. Started to turn the corner 10 years in. Mm-hmm. And, you're never guaranteed success in this business. So every year you start fresh, and you open that door, and your G&A costs are pretty large nowadays. Yeah. So yeah, you've got to really focus and rely upon this infrastructure that's been built decades ago.
You got to admire the shoestring and bootstrap approach, because you just build it all yourself.
Absolutely.
That's just something that I definitely appreciate and admire. I still have my first company car.
Oh, you do not.
I do. It was a 1962 Volkswagen.
1962 Volkswagen.
I saw it on a car lot, and walked in. I said, "How much you want for that Volkswagen?" He goes, $1,800, and I literally turned right around. And my hand got on the door because I didn't have $1,800 to my name
back then.
And the guy says, "Well, give me $900 for it." And I go, "I can swing $900.
Yeah.
I still have it."
That's awesome. That's great. That's a good story.
Today, in today's world, how do you see technology factoring into the future prosperity of a construction company and your company?
Well, at the end of the day, men and women need to build. AI is going to take over some aspects of construction. I think it's going to be very impactful on the admin and finance portion of what we do, and even the marketing side. And there's automation that occurs in the shop. In fact, we're expanding our shop to allow for more mobilization of modularization within the shop. So portions of bridge decks are built here in the shop. We get them out into the field, and they're ready to go to be installed. We're not worried about weather or any of the other conditions, traffic here in the shop. So yeah, there's going to be portions of that continue to evolve over the decades. Yeah.
How would you characterize your attitude toward that?
Cautious, very cautious. Yeah. We're giving up our data to whom?
Right. Yeah.
Where is that being housed? Who's in charge of securing that information?
Right.
So if we were to turn the corner on AI with our finances, that's concerning, right?
Correct.
So we're working hand in hand with our vendors, including you guys, to make sure that we're secure, not only today, but in the future.
I think caution is the correct approach. Caution with curiosity is how I kind of think about it. Because there's no question there's some risk if you go into it without consideration and thought. There's no question that you could definitely get off on the right track. off on the wrong track, I should say. It's where you vet your vendors. It's where you vet, what's happening to this. You get a full understanding of that. Because my view is, yes, I think AI will have a profound impact on this industry. But I also believe, like you, that it has to be approached with a very high degree of thoughtfulness and understanding. So that's kind of what our approach is. We implement some AI components in how we train you now,
right.
How we train people like you. But before we did any of that, we made sure that our data is completely contained within our own container, where it's not out there in the world. It's not influenced by other things out in the world.
Right.
Because the last thing we want to do is feed a customer something that's completely incorrect.
And we appreciate that due diligence, but it's up to us with our second tier, third tier vendors to make sure that they're as tight as you guys are.
Correct.
So we're still trying to figure that out on that systems and procedures and process. So it'll come together.
Well,
with some help.
The fact that you're thinking about it, that it's in your thought process, is a very great positive. There's no question in my mind about that. I've been around this business, obviously, long 42 years. So I've talked to a lot of contractors. I've talked to some very tech-forward companies, as well as people that this is the last thing on. In fact, I'll ask you, how fun is it to buy software?
Yeah, it's down the bottom quartile.
yeah. I always see it doesn't have a nice paint job. It doesn't dig a hole. You can't fish from it. You can't fly in it.
Right.
And it ain't no fun.
No, but the vision of what Intact is bringing to our company is very exciting for all of us. Yeah. And especially with Chris and Steven, our controller, and the admin staff, they're just really pumped about this. And I'm excited because all my dashboards are my dashboards, and they're built by me and they're managed by me. And it's a manual process, essentially. And Intact's going to allow me to have real live data right there at my fingertips.
Yeah. We've gone through a digital transformation ourselves. And believe it or not, here we are in the software business, and I'm telling you, we went through one. And the key thing for me is I can get in touch with my financials at any point in time I want. If I'm sitting down at 11 o'clock at night and I'm like, where are we at? Where we were last month, where we were a year ago. I can get that instantaneously.
Love it. Can't wait for it.
Yeah. And any other parameter about the business. We can look at where our customers are in the process of deployment. We can really keep our finger on the pulse. And we're no longer in silos. That's... Mm-hmm. Which I'll ask you, how about communication how do you communicate across every element of your company?
Right. So we build individual scorecards for project managers, estimators, superintendents, and we communicate where they're at on a regular basis. But with Intact, I'm going to be able to share that live with all of them.
Perfect.
We're all measured. And at the end of the day, our bonus structure and our systems are built upon those scorecards. For them to have that information that's live just makes everything better. Yeah,
absolutely. I think for me, one of the lessons I've learned over time, and usually the hard way, is that the tighter I can make our team, how my efforts in building culture ends up paying off in spades across the board. Because I contend, if you don't have a happy staff, you can't have a happy customer.
Absolutely.
And so I find my efforts are heavily weighted in that direction.
Yes, absolutely.
What do you think about that?
Well, the tenure of an organization speaks for itself. We could expand as far as volume goes, as far as territory goes, but that's not who we are. We sat down decades ago and said, we want to be a regional contractor. If we have a client that takes us out of the region, that's one thing. We're not going to chase work out of the region. Why? Because there's a certain quality of life that we want for ourselves. We want for our team members. And that really is the recipe for success. We're not also shooting for 20% year over year growth. That's not who we are. Yeah. What we are is we're opportunistic based upon market conditions. And we have two divisions, commercial and civil. And we can kind of ebb and flow with our clients based upon their needs. So we're We're not the 20% growth company. We take advantage of market conditions and really satisfy our clients. And that's really the recipe that's paid off.
Yeah, I admire that. I think that's kind of a similar thought process for us in terms of, I've talked to some people about strategy, and I kind of first think about, how does it affect our staff? Is it a net plus for the staff? Then is it a net plus, for our customers? And then what would the resulting business advantage be, for instance? And if it doesn't green light on all three of those, we either we revise our thinking or we scrap the idea. But the first one always is, how does this affect our staff? Because I understand you've got people here that have been here with you more than 30 years.
Oh, yeah. We've got
me too.
2-3 generations working with us.
Wow. So. That's impressive.
Yeah.
If you have somebody and they want their children to work at the same place, that says something about you.
It's called a net promoter score of plus 95.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
Well, Pat, I definitely appreciate your time.
Yeah, Kurt. Yeah.
Thanks
Take care.
so much.
Yeah, thank you.